At my cousin's engagement party, I raised my glass and said, "Glad to be part of this." My aunt replied, "You weren't. We added you last minute." My sister leaned in and said, "Try not to ruin it like you always do." I didn't say anything, I just smiled quietly, picked up the $5,000 gift I had brought, and walked away. Outside, I canceled the credit card I had used to pay for the venue, something I did as a favor. 20 minutes later, the lights went out, the music stopped, and my phone blew up with over 130 missed calls. My aunt's comment was cold, like it meant nothing, even though I had spent thousands on the gift. She clinked glasses with her husband and ignored me completely. My sister whispered her usual insult with a little smirk. All around us were fancy decorations, expensive food, and perfect smiles hiding sharp comments. This family had a way of pretending I was never really part of them, unless they needed something. My cousin Danielle looked stunning, and her fiancé was charming. She always treated me nicely, but only on the surface, especially when she needed money. I had come ready to celebrate, but after their comments, I felt like I had been slapped. No one noticed when I stepped back, then walked away. They were too busy taking pictures and pretending we were all close. I picked up the expensive gift, walked outside, and canceled the venue card. I had put it down when my uncle's card didn't work. Soon after, everything shut down. My mom was the first to call, saying there must be a mistake. I hung up. Then the texts and calls poured in, from Danielle's fiancé, the venue, and relatives who usually only reached out when they needed money. At first, they were confused, then angry, then blaming me. They said I was unstable. They forgot I paid for the venue. They forgot I helped plan the event. They forgot I had always been the one they leaned on. I had proof, emails, receipts, and messages from over the years. I had given money to many of them, for dental bills, for investments gone wrong, for monthly help. Even Danielle's ring was bought with a loan from me. No one ever paid me back or even said thank you. They just kept asking. I was always behind the scenes, making things work, never in the spotlight. My sister once spent $9,000 on a spa trip with my emergency credit card. When I found out, she cried and said she needed it for her mental health. So I let it go. She's the same one who told me not to ruin the party. But I never ruined anything. I just paid for everything, and let them forget it. The next morning, someone posted a group photo from the party on Facebook. I wasn't in it. Danielle, Darren. They're smiling friends and proud family. Aunt Sandra posted a photo with the caption, "Thanks to everyone who made last night happen, real family shows up." No mention of me. No tag. Nothing. But in the comments, Emma, "Good thing we handled it ourselves, can't rely on chaos." Mark, that guy, he loves drama. Sandra, "Last minute guests ruin the mood." They were clearly talking about me. No guessing needed. But they didn't know what I had. Because I'd been saving things. Quietly, carefully. Emma once borrowed my laptop and forgot to log out of her email. I didn't look through it at first. But 2 weeks later, I got an alert, someone tried to use my PayPal. Her name popped up. So I checked. And I found a draft email she'd written but never sent. The subject, "Backup plan if he freaks out." It listed all the party expenses. Venue, $17,000, paid by me. Cake, flowers, music, all charged to my card. At the bottom, Emma wrote, "If he acts weird or backs out, we'll say it was his idea to pay. Make it look like a surprise, no one will blame us." Dated 3 weeks before the party. It was their backup plan in case I said no. I finally had proof. But I didn't share it right away. I wanted them to feel safe for a little longer. Then I found something else, an old phone I used to let Emma borrow. Inside a backup of her WhatsApp chats was a recording titled, "He's Losing It." I hit play. It was my voice, only it wasn't. They had edited clips of me talking from years ago, cut and mixed to sound like I was yelling, unstable. I almost dropped the phone. They were building a fake version of me. One they could use to explain things if needed. So they could take my money, lie about me, and still look like the victims. This wasn't a mistake. It was planned. That night, I sent one email, no subject. Just one line, "You might want to talk to your daughter before the video goes public." I sent it to Aunt Sandra, Uncle Theo, and Danielle. 20 minutes later, I had 19 missed calls. I didn't answer. I was too busy editing. The engagement brunch was moved to the next Saturday. Same place. New credit card. Different tone. They didn't invite me. I invited myself. I still had admin access with the coordinator. I RSVP'd directly. I showed up 15 minutes before the toast. Wearing a black blazer, calm and collected. With a flash drive in my pocket. They saw me and froze. Emma dropped her drink. Sandra looked like she wanted to erase me with her eyes. Danielle looked nervous. Darren looked confused. Perfect. The coordinator came over and asked if I was dropping something off. I smiled and said, "No, I'm here to add something to the playlist." She paused, then nodded. 10 minutes later, just as Danielle raised her glass to speak, the screen behind her turned on. I called out, "Can we get a quick video from the family?" Heads turned. First came screenshots, Venmo, Zelle, bank transfers. With notes like, Emma's dentist, deposit for venue, $500 here, $2000 there, $200, save us. The room went silent. Then came audio clips. Emma's voice, "If he freaks out, we'll say he insisted, he's good at looking desperate, people believe it." Sandra's voice, "He owes us, he wouldn't even have that job without the family." Silence followed. Not the celebration they planned, but the truth they deserved. Danielle. She probably thought I'd show up with some sad little gift and think it mattered. Then silence. The screen played a short video of me holding the engagement gift they all forgot, just like I did when I walked out last week. Then the screen went black. A sentence appeared. "This is what happens when you use someone, until he finally speaks." I turned around. Emma was already red, not embarrassed, but furious. Her hand shook like she wanted to throw something but didn't know what. "You're completely out of line," she snapped. "This was supposed to be my day." I stayed calm. "Oh, it still is, you're just not the main character anymore." Danielle stood frozen, mouth slightly open, like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. Then her fiancé, Darren, stepped forward. "Wait, this isn't true, is it?" I pulled out a flash drive. "Ask Emma about the email she wrote, the one titled, 'Just in case he freaks out.'" Emma tried to grab it. Too late. I handed it to Darren. "Check it yourself, I'm not here to argue, I'm just here to finish this." That's when my mother showed up. Right on time, perfect hair, shaking voice. "Please," she said, "let's go outside, let's talk." I looked at her, her mascara was already smudged, even before the tears. And for the first time in my life, I said, "I don't owe you anything, not money, not silence." Then my dad appeared. He never believed in engagement parties, always said they were a waste, but there he was, like he got an alert that I finally stopped staying quiet. "You're a disgrace," he growled, "you embarrassed your whole family." I looked him in the eye. "No, you embarrassed me for years." I just hit play. The room felt like glass cracking, some people stood and left, others stayed still, phones raised, at least one was filming. Good. Let them see what happens when you push the quiet one too far. Danielle tried to fix it, she stood up, hands raised. "Okay, maybe there were misunderstandings, but this isn't the right time." I pulled something from my pocket. "Is this yours?" I asked, holding up the ring box. "The $5,000 gift, custom diamond? Bought it from a guy I used to tutor in college, still have the receipt." Danielle nodded, slowly. I smiled, shut the box, and slipped it into my pocket. "You'll get it back when I get everything I gave to this family, which is never, so, enjoy what that means." Emma screamed. "You think you're the victim? You're just a bitter loser who thinks he's better than everyone." Then a voice cut through the noise. Calm, deep, confident. "Funny," it said, "he's the only one who actually paid for anything." Everyone turned. At the entrance stood a man in a dark suit. "Emma's ex, Carter." "Yes," I called him. Turns out I wasn't the only one she lied to. He walked over, handed me an envelope, and spoke just loud enough for a dozen people to hear. "These are screenshots, proof Emma faked texts and voice messages to make you look abusive. She did the same to me. I filed a report last year. I never sent it, but I'm sending it now." Emma stepped back like someone had hit her. "You're ruining everything," she yelled. I looked at her, still calm. "You already did, I'm just letting the smoke out." Then I walked out. No yelling, no drama. Just me, Carter, and the sound of people realizing they'd just watched a lie fall apart. That was the last time I ever stood in a room with those people. And from what I heard, no one saw Danielle's perfect family the same again. Silence after a storm isn't peace. It's just people checking to see what's still standing. 2 days later, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Over 130 missed calls. Facebook was chaos. Relatives I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had opinions. I didn't respond. Exactly what I wanted. I was busy. On Monday, I registered a company, Last Minute Guest, LLC. Yep, named after what my aunt called me to leave me out. If I wasn't welcome in their story, I'd write my own. And sell tickets. Within a week, I had a website, a YouTube channel, and my first viral video. What happens when the family ATM shuts down? The next one did even better. How to be uninvited and still own the room. 75,000 subscribers in 10 days. The comments rolled in. You told my story. They did this to me too. I didn't know I needed this. I wasn't yelling anymore. I was building. Then came the merch, hoodies, mugs, phone cases. Bestseller? A black hoodie with bold white text, glad to be part of this. And in tiny red letters on the hem, until I read the receipts. It sold out in 2 days. I thought that was the best moment. It wasn't. Because the biggest twist came from someone I didn't expect, Darren, Danielle's now ex-fiancé. He messaged me late one night. Can we talk? Just us. I expected a warning, maybe a threat. But he showed up in person. No ring. Empty eyes. I checked everything. You were right about all of it. I stayed quiet. I called off the wedding, he said, voice low, but there's something else you need to see. He opened his phone. Tapped a folder. Pressed play. A video. Granny had secretly recorded Emma and Aunt Sandra sitting with wine. Emma, he won't back out. We'll say it's for Mom. If he loses it, we call him unstable. Sandra, we still have that college video, right? The one where he says he wants to disappear? Splice it. Make it sound suicidal. No one will believe him after that. I froze. Darren looked down. She left her laptop open. The video was in a shared folder. She didn't even bother hiding it. I couldn't speak. Then he handed me a small box. Inside, the engagement ring I'd bought. She tried to keep it, he said it was a gift, but this belongs to someone with integrity. That's not her. I didn't thank him. I just nodded. And I knew exactly what I needed to do next. The next day, I met with a real lawyer. Not someone's friend or a casual contact, a real trial lawyer. The kind of person who uses silence like a shield. I told him everything, the fake messages, the edited recordings, the money, the video plan titled, just in case he freaks out. He listened and said one word. Conspiracy. Then added. We've got a solid case, defamation, emotional harm, financial manipulation. I nodded. But said, we're not starting in court. First, we go public. So I posted a 3-part docuseries on my channel. Clear. Calm. Step by step. The payments. The lies. The plot to ruin my name. Episode 3 hit 2 million views. A week later, I signed a deal to write a short memoir. Last minute guessed, how I burned a family myth and built myself from ash. Then came a surprise. A letter, handwritten, from my mom. No subject, no return address. I knew about the video, the plan, the lies. I told myself I wasn't involved if I stayed quiet. But silence is involvement. I was scared that if you left, they'd leave me too. But you were the only one who always showed up, even when they didn't see you. And now I'm ashamed. I didn't respond. I didn't forgive her. But I changed the ending of my last video. Just one sentence on a black screen. My mother knew. Silence is also a choice. Today, I sit in my new office. Not for tech work. Not for YouTube. A real space. I opened a co-working studio and mentorship program for people cut off from toxic families. The name on the door went up last. Etched beneath it, in small letters. But never again. 3 months passed. That's how long it took them to realize I wasn't coming back. No apology. No group call. No effort to fix anything. They didn't want healing. They were waiting for me to give in. I didn't. Instead, I grew the brand. Last Minute Guest became more than just a YouTube channel. I launched a podcast. Episode 1, When Loyalty Becomes Servitude. It hit Apple's top 10 in 2 days. Then I opened the studio, a bright, glass-fronted space in Denver. The plaque at the door read, "Here, we don't apologize for missing Thanksgiving." But the messages kept coming. Danielle emailed a PDF, sharing her version of the story. Aunt Sandra sent a blurry selfie of her crying, with the message, "Families shouldn't go viral, they should heal." Even Emma made a burner TikTok to share the truth. She tried hard to play the victim, and for a second, one clip went viral. Until someone commented, "Isn't this the girl who faked messages to ruin her cousin's life?" 14,000 likes. She deleted the account the next day. But the biggest shock came on a Wednesday. I was setting up for a workshop when my assistant walked in, pale. "Your dad's outside." What? He wasn't alone. I walked out and saw him in a full suit, With my mom and a man in a dress shirt. Lawyer? PR guy? Who knows? He walked up to me like he still had control. You made your point, he said coldly, now take it all down. What exactly? The videos, the posts, the brand, everything. Why? We're in talks with a publisher, a book, a family memoir, and your name's in it. There it was. The real reason he came. Let me guess, I said, Chapter 1, The Ungrateful Son? He snapped, you think this is funny? You ruined a legacy. No, I said, I just showed people what it really looked like. Then he leaned in and said, you always needed us more than we needed you, don't forget that. I laughed. I don't need to forget, I recorded it, with timestamps. He looked at my mom. She couldn't look back. Then I did something he never saw coming. I pulled a small silver key from my pocket. You remember that mountain house you used to take us to? He frowned, what about it? I bought the land behind it, 2 acres, put up a new fence last week. So? So, I said, the only road to your house now goes through mine. He blinked. That's illegal. Nope, it's called a private easement, totally legal. I also installed a gate. His jaw clenched. With a code, I said, that you don't have. They stood frozen. Then my mom stepped forward, voice shaking. Is this really what you want, to burn the whole family down? I looked at her, one last time. No, I just don't want to pretend the fire was ever warm. And I walked away. The next day, I made one final post. Not a video. Not a podcast. A full-page ad in the Sunday newspaper. Plain black text on white. To the people who taught me silence was safer than truth, thank you. You made me tough. You made me fearless. You made me a ghost in your story. And I turned that into a bestseller. Formerly, the last-minute guest. Now the one who turned off the lights and locked the door behind him. Last week, I changed my number. Told no one. I walked into my office, grabbed a Sharpie, and wrote something on the back of my old business card. I taped it to the break room wall. In case of emergency, don't call me. I'm not family anymore. And the final move? I donated $10,000 to a scholarship fund for kids estranged from their families. Not under my real name. But under the one I earned. Last-minute guest. Because sometimes, the person they almost didn't invite ends up winning the whole thing.